25 American lawmakers writing to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton saying there is no way that the United States should allow the Gujarat Chief Minister into India. But is it high time that America follow Britain's lead and acknowledge the fact that Narendra Modi and American companies have been doing a lot of business and nothing has been proven in any court of law, and therefore Narendra Modi is free to go wherever he pleases, including visiting the United States? Joining us on this show, we've got Lord Meghnath Desai. We've also got Farooq Dondi joining us. We've got Meenakshi Lekhi. Thank you very much, the three of you. I want to go across first to Mr. Dondi. Why is it, sir, that you believe that what these lawmakers are saying and doing is correct? Because there is a great sense in India that Narendra Modi is being unfairly targeted and vilified, that nothing has been proven against him in any court of law, and therefore, if he were to wish to travel to the United States, no one must stop him. Mr. Dondi.
I think that this question of fairness and unfairness does not apply properly to the circumstances under which Mr. Modi should be indicted. There should be a complete and thorough inquiry into what happened during those riots. There is enough evidence floating about. Obviously, it has not been tried in an inquiry or in a court of law to say that Mr. Modi was complicit, and certainly his ministers have been convicted of it, was complicit in the murder of several thousand innocent people. And when you are the chief minister of a state, you know, whether you can say you were asleep at that time or did not know what was going on, you are the chief and the buck stops with you. And you can't have people slaughtered in your state who have done and committed no crime by other civilians without your police interfering, without the army being called in to restore civil order. I think that this big question of whether the capitalist trade between Gujarat and America and Gujarat and Great Britain is more important than any morality just doesn't hold. If you can try Milosevic, if you can try Saddam Hussein, if you can drag the perpetrators of Bosnia to an international court, then one has to look at what Mr. Modi is alleged to have done extremely carefully. My second point is, what is Mr. Modi applying for a visa for? Does he want to see the Statue of Liberty? Is he going to, shop at Bloomingdale's? I doubt it very much. He's going there because he wants the international recognition which will give him a step up towards becoming a candidate for Indian Prime Ministership. That, to my mind, is an extremely doubtful move. The BJP should find somebody else.
You've compared him with international war criminals. You're saying he should be tried for his role in the riots. But Lord Desai, many would argue that nothing has been proven yet. Yes, the courts have been moving slowly. But as of now, Narendra Modi has neither been charged nor convicted of any crime. And therefore, it is unfair for the United States to try and prevent him from coming to America. I'm coming to you, Mr. Dondi, in just a moment. I want to get Lord Desai into the debate.
Yep. Well, you see, my view is that yes, criminal acts happened. We have the Naroda Patiya judgment. We have had judgment in Ode. Lots of people are being sentenced for what they did. The question is, what is Narendra Modi's culpability? Now, when the Sikh riots happened in 1984, nobody indicted Rajiv Gandhi or Narasimha Rao, who was Home Minister. And even not a single person in the Congress who took part in those Sikh riots has yet been indicted in any Indian court. Okay? In 1993, when the Shiv Sena people were killing Muslims in Mumbai, nobody has been tried for that, and Sharad Pawar is a cabinet minister. So, okay, evil deeds have been done in Gujarat, in Mumbai, in Delhi. Now, if it is proven that Narendra Modi was complicit, responsible, absolutely right that he should be tried. I've no doubt about that. What I'm saying, as of now, whatever the Americans decide, the thing is that he has not yet been convicted. So this is why the British government is moved, and I don't know what the Americans are going to do. But, the Indian courts have to indict him first.
Mr. Dondi, is that not a compelling argument? that here's a man who hasn't yet been indicted. If he's
Well,
charged, then
I
of
think
course
that
he should not
it
be
is a
allowed
very
to travel, but
it's
that
a
hasn't
compelling
happened yet.
argument.
Mr. Dondi.
It is a compelling argument, but I believe that Meghnad is arguing on my side, because basically by telling this audience that nobody was convicted of the riots in Bombay. Nobody was convicted of the anti-Sikh riots, not the top people. They weren't convicted of the anti-Sikh riots in Delhi. In other words, our court processes, our inquiry processes are pretty damn culpable and impotent. And the fact that he hasn't been tried yet doesn't mean that there aren't enough allegations with which to put him not on trial, but at least to an inquiry. I can't say what he is guilty of, but I really do want to know if thousands of people begin to say, this is what happened to us, and there was no law and order in the state. I would start from that point of view. Why was there no law and order enforced that day? Who was culpable for that? Does the buck go right up to the top? Now, if that kind of inquiry is made, fine, pending that. But again, I reassert that the reason he wants visas. You can do business by email. You don't have to go and meet the Gujarati Chamber of Commerce in Washington in order to do business with the United States. These are gesture politics. And I believe the gestures in this case have to be on the side of morality rather than on the side of capitalism.
Okay, gestures should be on the side of morality rather than on the side of capitalism. Very compelling arguments there. I want to go across to Washington, D.C. Joining us from there is Raymond E. Vickery. He's a leading advisor on Indo-American relations. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. I want your sense on this furious debate that's raging in India on whether the US should follow Britain's lead and completely begin re-engaging with the Gujarat Chief Minister. Now we've seen 25 lawmakers write to Hillary Clinton. Do you think that Barack Obama will continue the ban on Modi's travel to the US?
I think the position of the United States government is very clear. There have been three top officials at the Department of State who commented on this, and that is that Chief Minister Modi is perfectly free to reapply for a visa, and it'll be handled in due course. I do think that this is somewhat of a change. Obviously, the George W. Bush administration had declared that he would not be eligible for a visa. Now the position is that he's free to apply, and that in the ordinary course the State Department will take a look at what the evidence is, whether or not there's been anything over the last 10 years which clarifies the situation or makes it worse, and make a decision. I don't know what that inquiry will produce. I am clear, though, that the relationship between India and the United States must continue to grow, and a part of that has to do with Gujarat and has to do with the state governments in the United States. I think it's a lot more than symbolism in terms of chief ministers and governors going back and forth between the United States and India. And since Gujarat is a very leading state, I think it's perfectly appropriate to take another look and see if we can't bring relations closer together with this state as well as the rest of India. So I think it's moving forward. I know a lot of those folks who signed the letter on the Hill. Members of Congress ran against one of them, Frank Wolf, who is a leading congressman on the issue of religious freedom and human rights. Jim Moran is a good colleague of mine. It's not unusual for Congress, members of Congress, to express their opinions, but when it comes down to it, it seems to me it has to be some evidence that would continue the kind of ban that the United States has had.
No, but it would seem, and that's what one of our columnists, one of our commentators on the show, Farooq Dondi, said, that capitalism can't triumph over morality. The United States put this ban way back after the Gujarat riots because of the evidence that was out. Now, nothing has changed between then and now. He hasn't been found to be guilty, but he hasn't been let off either. And therefore, the United States has no real reason, apart from outright capitalism, to now allow the US and to now allow Narendra Modi to come to the US. Would America then not be guilty of hypocrisy?
Well, I just think that putting this in a format of capitalism versus morality is the wrong way to look at it. There's nothing, in my view, which says that capitalism is immoral, but denying visas is moral. It's a question of what the facts are. And if nothing has come forward in 10 years and the Indian authorities haven't been moved, then the question is, what is the basis upon which the United States would deny him a visa? Now, there may be facts that come forward and can be shown to be proven, which would make it improper to grant a visa. But on the other hand, just saying, oh, well, because there's a lot going on between Gujarat and the United States, that therefore you can't take into account what the relations are and the need for people to be able to interact, it doesn't seem to me to be correct either. The U.S.-India Business Council will send a delegation to Vibrant Gujarat in January. I'll be a part of that delegation, and we expect to meet with Minister Modi. Perhaps we'll gain some further insight that may be useful in terms of what the situation now is in regard to religious freedom and in regard to the treatment of minorities in Gujarat. All those really affect business conditions. The fact is that there is not a bright line that you draw and you can just stand up on one side or another. You have to look at the facts.
You have to look at the facts, and there is no evidence available yet that shows that Narendra Modi is guilty. Meenakshi Lekhi has a hand up, but I want to go across first to Farooq Dondi. You just heard the voice from Washington, a very seasoned politician, saying that the facts are that business relations between US and Gujarat are growing. Gujarat is playing an important role, and America simply cannot, on the basis of allegations, deny Narendra Modi his due. It's time to move on, and he's saying the State Department has already indicated they might be willing to give Modi a visa.
I think that there is another aspect of fact that people ought to look at. I am quite sure, and there is enough journalistic evidence to show, that Narendra Modi's administration is, in the financial sense, not corrupt, that they move very fast to give licenses to people. They provide, for instance, the Tata motor car with facilities in a few days when the Bengal government couldn't do it in years. That's all true. But basically, the prosperity of Gujarat is not dependent upon great administration. It is dependent upon the fact that Gujarati businessmen have made lots of money in America and in Britain and are repatriating the capital as Indians. It doesn't need a Narendra Modi in order for that to continue. Gujarat will continue to be prosperous and continue to have links because of the diasporic Gujarati presence in the world. So I really think that asking for facts from an Indian court or an Indian inquiry is a dead end, because it has been shown, as my opponent in this debate, Lord Desai, has said, that these inquiries, these courts of law do not indict high-flying politicians.
No, but can that be a justification? I want to bring in Meenakshi Lekhi. Farooq Dondi says the legal system in India moves so slowly that you can't expect the law to hold Narendra Modi guilty. But as far as the evidence is concerned, enough has come out into the public domain which shows that Narendra Modi is guilty, and therefore the US should not allow him in. Meenakshi.
I'm sorry, rhetoric does not replace the facts, and Mr. Dhondi's arguments sound like more like or even double speak, because what he applies to Narendra Modi, he forgets to apply the same logic to Manmohan Singh, where Assam riots are happening. He doesn't apply the same logic to Rajiv Gandhi when 84 riots are being discussed, and right after right which have happened under Congress regime till 2002 in Gujarat. And I don't know how well he follows India or how well he knows about the facts on Gujarat, but I like to brief him when he says thousands of people have died. It's 1,169. And 1 lakh people, if he understands 1 lakh, this is 100,000 people, have been put behind bars by this administration, which had only police force of 70,000, and they requested police and military within 24 hours. And there is SIT for his consumption. I'll send him a copy. He can go over it, read it, and then come to such debates where he does not speak rhetoric, but comes prepared with the facts.
Let Mr. Dondi respond to that, because no one is questioning the role of the Chief Minister or any of the central ministers in the Assam riots. The Home Minister and the Chief Minister haven't been questioned. The Sikh riots, we don't ask similar questions to Congress leaders. So are Modi's critics looking at it from the prism of their bias?
I really appreciate an advocate who can say that 100,000 lives weighed against 1,769 counts 100 times this way or that. One life is bad enough. One life in an illegal killing is bad enough. And yes, I'm not saying, as she accuses me of being hypocritical, that one life is quite enough to be indicted if it was taken under those circumstances. And I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to say that I said that Rajiv Gandhi is innocent. I didn't say any such thing. I absolutely know that in the cases of the Sikh riots, people were not indicted properly. In the case, that's what happens in India. And you want to support an extreme wing of this kind of occurrence in India. Apart from, sending me your emails and your articles, why don't you get sensible and try and see that 1,769 lives, your quote, is not good enough and not a decent record for Gujarat to hold.
I'm going to let Meenakshi respond to that.
Mr. Dhondi, it's not 1,700, it's 1,169, and 30% of them happen to be Hindus. And those 30% happen to be Hindus in a state which has only 9% or 10% of Muslim population. So riots happened, police tried to control, police picks up people both before the riots happened and during the riots and post riots. The courts charge them, the courts convict them, maximum number of conviction in Gujarat, maximum number of people being put behind bars, maximum amount of money which has been spent on rehabilitation. People are coming together and there is a very strong lobby which is working, and right at the juncture when elections are happening, 25 people will get together and go. There are 120 senators in US. Out of those 120 senators, I'm sure more than 25, that is, say, double the number, 50, would be willing to join hands with Mr. Modi. What is your problem? And when we discuss these things, I'm ashamed the manner in which Indians deal with it, because it's a question of Indian nation, Indian nationality.
I want one final answer.
What is the foreign ministry? What is the foreign ministry doing in such
Yes, Mr. Dhondi, very quickly, I want to bring in Mr. Desai as well.
Since you're so keen on statistics, there are 100 senators in the US, not 120, please. And I don't expect the entire Senate to be concerned with relations or visas of Gujarat. They have other things to think about.
Lord Desai, do you think in the end, in this morality versus capitalism debate, it is capitalism that will triumph? Because I have a quote from Time magazine which says that Modi is a firm, no-nonsense leader who will set the nation on a course of development that might put it on par with China. Do you think that the might of Modi's capitalistic enterprise will triumph?
Let's forget about the hype of Modi taking India to China. Not taking India to China. Capitalism always wins in a battle against morality. There is no doubt about that. But one thing that Farooq said is right. Gujarat has been a developed
What is
nation for about
morality?
2,000 years. And is always prosperous. Gujarat is prosperous because Gujaratis are enterprising. Narendra Modi has been a good chief minister, but it's not, it's not as if Gujarat was poor before
Okay.
Narendra Modi got into power. And so let us not hype this. My point is very simple, that what happened in Gujarat was horrendous. Lots and lots of people were killed. There is only 9% Muslim population. 90% of the killed people were Muslims. So Muslims were targeted and killed. There are a lot of
not
convictions happening,
90%.
but nobody has as yet
70%.
found 90% of those killed. Those killed were Muslims. Okay, 70%.
No.
So 8 times as
No,
many
no,
Muslims were
Lord
killed as
Desai,
in the
you're
population.
incorrect. You're incorrect.
I'm
You're
also out of time for this
9%,
debate. We've
9%
got guests
and
waiting for us from
70%.
Norway.
9 times 8.
You
Now,
are incorrect.
and
9.8 and 30% are
now
Hindus.
times 8.
Okay.
I was more
The thing about the
aggressive.
Narendra
Now
Modi
Guna
debate
Art-
is you can
now
never come to
Guna
any
Art-
conclusion. I'm not going to take sides. It's deeply contentious on the issue of whether Narendra Modi should be issued an American visa or not. I leave it to each of our viewers to decide where they stand on this. For the moment, Lord Meghnath Desai, Farooq Dondi and Meenakshi Lekhi for joining us on the first part of the Center Stage Face-Off tonight. Thank you very much.